What is up, YouTube? How is everybody out there doing today? We are obviously in the Bird and in Ghost, I guess you say, Ghost the Bird. I like to call it the Bird sometimes, you know. But I just got done eating with my friends, and I looked outside, I noticed it's starting to fucking rain. And I've been driving the car around this morning. It was a beautiful day, and now it's starting to rain, which scares the fuck out of me because of the certain tires that I have on the back of my car. So I am literally trying to rush back up to the shop, put the car away, get the good old Honda, and continue my day of excitement. Yellow light. I wanted to make a video basically talking about some of the costs that it took to build this car, to build my 1998 Pontiac Firebird Formula. So basically, we're going to start out with the first cost of this car, and that is the car itself. So back when I bought this car, I paid $21,000 for this car, and we're talking, this is a 98. I bought it in 01, and it was still $21,000. It was still a very expensive car back then. It was only like 3 years old. You know, it wasn't that old of a vehicle, which was awesome. It was a lot of money back then, but nowadays, honestly, you can buy one of these cars or a Camaro SS, for example. You can easily pick one up for $3,000 to $6,000 used with about 100,000 miles on it. So I would say generally we'll go on the higher end of the spectrum. You could pick up a Z28 Camaro or a Firebird Formula 9802 for non-WS6 for around the $6,000 range. So that'd be the first price, $6,000. All right. So then the next cost of the vehicle that I have into this particular car would be the short block, which is from Golen Engines up in New Hampshire. Now the short block is going to run you about $4,500 give or take. It all depends on what options you have, and if it's going to be studded, ARP'd out, or you know, if you're using different pistons or different rods. But average wise, you're probably going to be looking between the $45,000 to $5,000 range for this type of a short block. The next cost of this build is the clutch. The spec twin disc clutch that's in this car ran me, I bought it years ago, but it ran me about, I think I paid like $1,400 for it or something, for this clutch. It is good for 1,500 foot-pounds of torque. As you guys know, clutches are not rated for horsepower, clutches are rated for torque, and this thing will handle 1,500 foot-pounds of torque, which is a lot of freaking torque. Woo-wee! This car is a lot of fun to drive, guys. I'm not lying. Let's keep moving on. Obviously, you guys are probably all wondering about the turbo kit. The turbo kit on here is a Huron Speed T6 version 3, their V3 T6 turbo system. It is a T6 80mm Borg-Warner turbo from Borg-Warner with a 132 hot side divided, and it is Huron Speed complete 6-inch intercooler with their twin blow-off valves and twin wastegates as well. So that average cost, and that also depends on specs as well, but the average cost of that type of a setup is going to be anywhere between $5,000 and $6,000. That's including the 6-inch intercooler as well. So you guys got to keep in mind though that the price is definitely going to vary on all these items, all depending on what spec you're doing. So basically, I'm just giving you a quick little kind of a rundown of what it would cost roughly to build this car here. The next thing after the turbo kit would be the Midwest chassis rear end. Now, I've had this Midwest chassis 9-inch, this fabricated 9-inch. I've had this thing for, gosh, almost 10 years now. Awesome company. Amazing, amazing company. And they make a hell of a product. And the rear end's been through a lot of abuse, guys. A lot of hard launches back in the day, and it has a lot more hard launches to come. So you know, the rear end, I think back in the day, if I remember correctly, the rear end cost me about like $4,000 or something for this rear, $4,500 if I remember correctly. It's been so long since I bought it, and obviously prices have changed since then. then because it's, you know, it was like freaking 10 years when I bought it. 10 years ago when I bought the thing. So, don't quote me on that price, but I would say between $400 to $4,500 for this particular rear end that I have in this car. 31 spline axles, back brakes, powder coated red, all that fun stuff. It's getting a little wet out here, guys. I'm getting a little sketchy here, but we're gonna try to make it up to the shop, so we'll be fine. The other thing I have in this car that's gonna be added into the bill is a Gentek Performance master clutch cylinder setup. That master clutch cylinder setup, if I remember correctly, is about 350 bucks. Very, very awesome piece, and I highly recommend. It's really starting to rain. I highly would recommend buying that if you have a 6-speed, whether it's a heads and cam car, an NA 6-speed car, or a 1,000 horsepower turbo car like myself, supercharger car, whatever. I would definitely pick up one of those. Best money you can spend. It's not a very expensive piece, but it's a piece that's going to definitely help you in your drag racing and help hold the clutch down like it's supposed to be. Compared to a stock setup, the stock master cylinders in these are pretty much junk, to be honest. You don't want to deal with them, and you definitely don't want to put 1,000 horsepower to them on a twin disc clutch. You're going to have some problems, especially your pedal sticking to the floor. Anybody with an F body is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. And here we go on the highway now. Alright, so let's see, what else do we have wrapped up in this vehicle? So I have a set of 2100cc injectors. There's the Bosch CC injectors. They were, I think they're about 600 bucks for those injectors. So that's 600 bucks added onto the bill right there. Two 450 E85 compatible lower row pumps. Each of those pumps I think range about 100 bucks. You can buy them on Amazon, they're pretty cheap. I did use an existing 6AN line to and from. So, I mean, relatively, I would prefer to have 8AN E85 line, but the problem was at the time, I just didn't have time to get it done, and I have yet to do that. Now, that's just the cheap side of the fuel system. You're going to be looking at a regulator. Regulators are like 150 bucks. You know, fuel line's going to be about, fuel line and fittings you might have maybe 200 to 250 bucks in fuel line and fittings, and putting everything together, which ain't too bad. So you're gonna have a couple $100 bucks in a fuel system. Now, that's just this particular fuel system. Now, if you were to get a fuel system for like, that's specifically designed for this, with like 8AN line, a new fuel setup, fuel pump setup for the back, all that stuff, then I can almost guarantee you're going to be in the $1,500 range for a more professional fuel system, guys. So be prepared to spend that kind of money. The cam setup, we'll talk about the cam setup now. It is a custom Lunati cam grind in this car, and the cam with dual valve springs and push rods are going to run you about $800 for the whole cam set. The other thing on top of the engine that we have is we have the Sharps custom intake manifold. The Sharps custom intake manifold, if I remember correctly, is about 500 bucks, I think, or something like that. It's not very expensive. Very, very good intake. Haven't had any problems with it. I'm pushing about 22 pounds of boost right now in this car, and the intakes are good for 30 psi. And I mean, the drag raced it. I drove it on the street, everything like that, and I have yet to have a problem with any of the welds breaking or any issues with that intake manifold. So very, very good intake company, very, very good intake manifold as well. The heads that are on this car are the SPS Haymaker heads. They're out of Washington State. Awesome company, make a very, very good head. They are an LS3 based head. This head, if I remember correctly, ran me about $2,700, $2,800 shipped, I think. Give or take around that. There is different specs on the head. You can get different valves, different size valves, different springs, you know, all the bells and whistles. It just all depends on what you're looking to do with the head. But it is an LS3 based head. I'm trying to think what else I have wrapped up in this car oh, the transmission build. So when I built this transmission, the T56, I had a lot more parts in it than necessary. I broke a lot of parts from previous times that I raced when it was just a nitrous car, so I had to put a lot of money in the transmission. In order to put all the parts in the transmission that I needed, I was at about 2,500 bucks worth of parts, which is a lot. A little bit overkill, but I got a lot of stuff custom done, cryogenically treated, all that fun stuff. Definitely worth the money, to be honest. Definitely worth the money. So about 2,500 bucks is currently wrapped up in the transmission right now. The shifter, the Hirsch shifter that broke the knob off, that shifter I think runs about $250, something around that nature. Not a very expensive shifter, but still for a shifter, you know, $250, not too bad. Oh, the roads are really wet. They are really fucking wet down here. I'm actually almost to the shop, guys, but I'm trying to be careful because I do have drag radials on the back, and that is kind of sketchy to me, to be honest. Oh yeah, they're wet here. Yeah, this is kind of scary. This is kind of scary, guys. Drag radials in the rain, not fun in a 1,000 horsepower car. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Let's see, what else? Obviously, I have an air fuel gauge, and I have a boost gauge, as you guys can probably not see down here. Those gauges you can find on Summit, stuff like that. And they range anywhere between $150 to $300 for each of those gauges, all depending on what brand you go with. If you're going with an AEM, if you're going with an altimeter, stuff like that. So it all depends on what brand you go with. That's pretty much the price that you're going to be looking at spending on the two important gauges, which obviously will be boost and air fuel. So must have those gauges. They're very important to have. Come on, dude, you gonna let me in here or what? People keep cutting me off. Cutting me off and shit. Unbelievable. We're almost at the shop, and I do honestly want to concentrate on my driving a little bit, to be honest, because this is kind of sketchy. I don't like driving this car in the rain. The last time I drove this car in the rain, I actually did a full 360 in the middle of a 3-lane highway coming home from my 1,000 horsepower dyno day. That night I was coming home and it was drizzling, raining a little bit, and I spun the fuck around. Like, I spun around a full 360 in the middle of Route 30 if anybody's local, right by Park City Mall. But it was a 3-lane highway right there, Manheim exit and everything. It was sketchy. Like, it scared the hell out of me. I thought, oh wow, the car is now going to get wrecked again. This is not good. And this car has been wrecked in the past, and I will maybe make a video about that, you know, one of these days, explaining how that happened. But it was years ago, and it was a dumb mistake. But the car's fixed, you know, been fixed for a while now, so we're good to go. But let's get back to the shop. We'll continue this video and show you the engine bay, show you the intake, the turbo, all that stuff, which you guys have already seen, most of you. But if I have any new subscribers on the channel, I'm sure you guys would be interested in seeing that as well. So let's get back to the shop real quick, and we'll finish this video out, guys. Whew. Always feels good making sure I get back to the shop nice and safe and sound. Not gonna lie, especially as you guys can see, it is wet, it is raining, which is not good for this car at all. But let's get inside, and we'll, like I said, we'll finish up this video. All right, we're back in the garage, and let's pop the hood here. Oh, I will talk about this hood as well, because actually we should talk about this hood right now, technically. So this is not the OEM ram air hood for this car. Okay, cool. This car actually had what's called a sleek beak, which would be the regular style flat hood. It's actually sitting way in the back over there, but I kept the original hood. I don't want to get rid of it. But I found this one. This hood cost me $500 with the blackbird stripes on it, and also it was already painted Arctic white. I found it through a guy in Philly, and it fits perfect. It looks freaking great. So when he had it for 500 bucks, I immediately picked it up, which I was very, very happy about, to be honest. But yeah, so this is not the original ram air hood for this vehicle. But as you guys can see, here's the engine bay. One of the things I did want to tell you guys is there's a few things in here I missed. One of them being the trunnion rocker upgrade kit underneath the valve covers. You can't see them, but they're about 100 bucks through Summit. all the powder coating, or not powder coating, but the ceramic coating that I did to the headers of the turbo system, the downpipe, all the powder coating and stuff like that, that all ran me about $300 to do all that, $300 to $400 to do all that. I have an electric water pump on this engine as well. As you guys can see, it is a Mirror electric water pump down there. That electric water pump ranges for about $400 to $500, all depending on if you buy it brand new or buy it used. It just all depends. The other thing that we need to mention is the methanol kit from Alky Control. The methanol kit is not hooked up to this car at all. I'm not going to be using it. I don't think I'm going to be using it. But the methanol kit, they run anywhere between, all depending on what the setup is, they can run anywhere between $700 to $900. Depending on if you get an external bottle, if you use the windshield washer bottle, all those, different options. There's lots of options that come, with this type of a setup. And I'm just giving you an average price list of what you're looking at. And by no means is this a guaranteed price list of everything that's done to this car. Like, there's little stuff that's done to this thing. I'm not going to give you the price for the head gaskets. Obviously, head gaskets are 40, 50 bucks each, whatever. I'm not going to give you a price for that. But, and obviously I have the spacers in here for the injectors. They're like, I think $100 or something like that, 50 bucks, I don't know. But little stuff like that, I'm not going to give you, the pricing on. I just want to give you a main breakdown of what it would cost to build this car here, to a point, a roundabout cost. And we're going to total all this up at the end here and see what it looks like. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The cage. So I do have what's called a Wolf Racecraft 6-point chromoly cage in this thing. And if I remember correctly, this is one of the things I bought way back in the day. I think I paid with the jig notching. It was a jig notch. And if you guys don't know what jig notching is, basically what jig notching is when they already have the ends cut out to go around the tube, and you don't have to worry about cutting them to fit the tube exactly. They're already ready to go. That's jig notching. But I think the cage was like 400 bucks for the cage or something. And then I paid a buddy $200 to weld it in, because there's a chromoly. You do need to TIG weld it. Now there is a separate piece to this cage that I've added that does not come with the Wolf Racecraft setup. And that is, as you guys can see, these clevis mounts right here. I'm very, very happy with these things. Love them to death. I'll be honest, they were 140 bucks a side. They come with one each, so one per side or two per side. And I love how they actually hook in here. As you guys can see, it's like a sandwich, you know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why I got that type of a setup. I wanted something strong and stable. I did not like the cup style where there's the bar and then there's a cup that comes off the back here and then you put the pin down through. I did not like that, so I wanted to get a setup like this to where it was a clevis mount and it hooked in. And these are fully removable door bars as well. But obviously this is going to change, because I am going to go to a 10-point cage, because this car is running over 135 miles an hour. It is running almost 140, so I'm going to have no choice but to upgrade to a 10-point cage. And basically a 10-point cage is just bars coming from here down into the dash and then down here, and then having one solid door bar right there, which will complete the 10-point cage, which will be pretty awesome. I'm trying to think if there's anything left out. I'm probably not going to do too much of the safety equipment, like the belts and stuff, because honestly, I mean, safety equipment's a different kind of I would say that's a different kind of a video, to be honest. But for the most part, I did forget one thing: the radiator. So this radiator, I got a funny story about this radiator. So the previous radiator I had in, which was a Griffin, was like 150 bucks or something. And the tube was stock setup, so there's one on the passenger side, one on the driver's side. For this turbo setup, I highly recommend that you get this Griffin radiator. This Griffin radiator is the same dimension as the original one that I had in here, or in Red Rocket actually, but it has the inlet and outlet on the same side. The bad part about this is the bad part. The bad part about this is this freaking radiator is twice as expensive. It's almost $300 for this radiator, and it's only because it has the outlet or inlet on this side compared to on that side. So that's the sucky part. This Griffin radiator is kind of expensive, but you do need it for this turbo system. It makes the turbo fitment and everything a lot easier. You don't have to mess around over here and have tubes going over your turbo. Red Rocket had that, and when I decided to put everything from Red Rocket into this car, I got the right radiator, and it did cost the money to do that. It cost some good money to get that radiator. But like I said, that radiator is twice as much as the regular Griffin stand-up radiator that a lot of guys put in the 4th gen F bodies for their front mount turbo setups. All right, so we're not going to talk about wheels and tires and suspension parts in this video, because honestly I really don't have any of that stuff right now. I'm only running a buddy's rear Raystars, and I'm running front ZR1 tires and wheels on this thing, so there's really no point in getting into the suspension and stuff like that. I do have a surprise hopefully here with the suspension company. I'll be announcing it soon. Hopefully they'll be picking me up as a sponsor, which is freaking amazing. If they do, you guys will find out about that in a later video. But I think you guys are going to be pretty excited about who's going to be picking me up here, hopefully. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully everything goes good. But other than that, guys, we're going to end this video. I'm going to put a total right here of a rough estimate of what this car is going to cost to do this, with the price of a car if you were to buy a 4th gen F body like this one. Like I said in the beginning of the video, about $6,000 for a good one, a good car. We'll put that total right here for you guys. You can see it right now. A lot of money, huh? A lot of money. But it's not a lot of money when you think about maybe buying, like, I don't know, a brand new C7 Corvette and boosting it for another like 20 grand. You know what I mean? So when you think about it in relative terms of buying one of these and building an engine, putting a turbo system on it, building a 6-speed, all that fun jazz, compared to buying a, you know, C7 or a CTSV, for example, and modding it, you're still very well under cost, and you still have a very reliable, fast car. And as you guys can see, like, I drive this thing on the street, so I don't even care. Like, I love it. It's a great car. It drives on the street fine. Even if it had an automatic, it would drive on the street just fine. And it's just a little fast, that's all. Just a little tiny fast. There you go, guys. That's what it would cost you to build a car similar to this and reach the horsepower numbers similar to this as well. This is what it's going to take. So if any of you guys out there are very interested in doing something like that, now you have a somewhat base price, or somewhat of a minimum to maximum range of what it would cost to do something like this. So if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a big favor, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Instagram, Diablo Formula Racing. Facebook is also Diablo Formula Racing. Deuces, guys.